adapted from a novel by Lily Brooks Dalton, directed by George Clooney. He also co-stars, as you said, it's in the future, 2049, wake of an unspecified global catastrophe. And George Clooney is on Earth, um, trying to beam signals out to this spaceship, Ether, which is returning home after a mission to seek out strange new worlds, essentially. And something terrible has happened on Earth, and Ether is coming back and can't figure out why it is that Earth is so silent. Will they be able to get home? Will there be a home to get back to? It's clear from the outset that there's some kind of fundamental connection between these two disparate stories. That you don't have to. It's not a huge leap to know that somehow these two things are going to intertwine, not just in terms of the actual making the connection. But I really liked Midnight Sky. I mean, the thing before I saw it, you had described it to me as a film which is set in two stories intertwined, one in the ground, one in the sky. And I think the best thing about it is that the intertwining works rather well. I mean, the two stories do seem to be playing out completely separately, but they do mirror each other. They do match each other. I mean, like Alfonso Cuarón's Gravity, which of course George Clooney featured in. There are some action set pieces, perhaps particularly a spacewalk set piece, which has a very very sort of distressing kind of moment in it, really genuinely nail biting. But it is much more low key. I mean, there's a degree of action, but it's much more specifically a kind of a low key affair. It has something of the existential angst of that Swedish Danish sci-fi film which I loved, Aniara, or even maybe a little bit of Steven Soderbergh's, Solaris, which we were talking about earlier on. Many weeks ago, I was saying that the whole point about Solaris is it is a film about isolation and being lost in yourself. I think the cast are very good. I think Felicity Jones is great. I think David Oyelowo is great. I think George Clooney is grizzled in a way that he manages to do terrifically well. Interesting off the back of that interview that the kind of the whole way in which the narrative is given an almost biblical edge by the fact that they are a partnership and that she is pregnant. There seems to be a sort of a kind of a wider dimension to the story, and astonishing to hear that was just something that happened whilst the production was happening. Very good production design. I mean, not surprising because the production designer has got the incredible credits, including E.T. But I really liked it. It had that melancholy sci-fi feel that always works for me, and I thought it was a really impressive, interesting science fiction movie that worked and did make its stories tie together.